The blob is here, and it's probably going to stink up your next cruise. Plus, Carnival Cruise Line is beginning to reposition ships for the 2023 Alaska cruise season. And one of those cruises, I was supposed to be on it right now. I'll give you an update on that situation. And severe rainfall on the east coast of Florida might be causing problems for cruisers heading into this weekend. Let's roll the intro. Welcome to the Midships channel. I'm your Captain Corey. Thank you so much for stopping by the channel today. I'd like to welcome you back once again to the Central Florida Midships studio. We got a lot of cruise news to get into today, so let's start with this big story. Now, you might want to brace yourself for this one because the blob has reached Florida. And no, I'm not talking about a cheesy 1950s movie starring Steve McQueen, the king of cool. I'm talking about 13 million tons of stinky, slimy, infested seaweed that just washed up on the shores of Florida's beautiful beaches. Yeah, you heard that right, 13 million tons. Now, researchers at the University of South Florida's Oceanography Lab, they've been keeping tabs on this floating seaweed that stretches over 5,000 miles from the Gulf of Mexico to the west coast of Africa. And to put that into perspective, if you were to drive from New York to California, that would only be 2,900 miles. This is a big old sucker floating out there, folks. And the problem here is things are not looking good for Florida's beaches and for the beaches in the Caribbean. And while seaweed washing up on a Florida beach, or any beach for that matter, is not out of the ordinary, these large masses that have already washed up in places like Cape Canaveral, Fort Lauderdale, Boca Raton, Miami, they've instantly become a major nuisance to beachgoers. And we all know one of the best parts of any cruise vacation is being a beachgoer. Let's be real. Most people don't have one of those in their backyard. And insult to injury, remediation for this seaweed plight is downright expensive, with some places in Florida spending $4 to $6 million a year to deal with this problem. And that might be okay for a place like Miami-Dade County, Port Canaveral, but when you take this problem and you put it on a small, impoverished island nation that's still recovering from a cruise shutdown, whose main moneymaker is cruise ships, well, that's going to be a huge stress on that local economy, and they're probably not going to be able to keep up with these removal efforts. Now, I know what you're thinking. How does this affect you as a cruiser? Well, as it turns out, the seaweed doesn't discriminate in where it goes. It's most likely going to find its way into all of the beaches you are planning to visit on your summer cruise vacation. Now, Sargassum seaweed itself, it's harmless to humans. The problem begins with, well, the ick factor. Let's be real. It's just plain gross. It's stinky, and that's because of the hydrogen sulfides that it releases when it's washed up and rotting in the tropical sun on the beach. And that can cause breathing problems for people who have respiratory issues, and it just stinks like rotten eggs. Plus, who wants to go walking or swimming through slimy, nasty seaweed? And one of the reasons you probably don't want to walk or swim through it is because this Sargassum seaweed bloom actually harbors things like jellyfish, other sea life, stinging and biting sea creatures, sea lice. All of that could give you a bad day. Now, on the bright side, you might not want to cancel your cruise just yet because of the seaweed invasion, because this won't all wash up on shore every day at every beach. There's likely to be hot spots, highs and lows. Just like rain, this is going to move with the tides and the weather systems. It can be pushed around during hurricane season. All of this goes into determining when and where the blob shows up. Have you ever watched that movie, The Blob? I've never seen it personally, but I've heard it referenced a lot in pop culture quite a bit. And with Steve McQueen being in it, it's got to be pretty good, right? Maybe I'll queue it up on Amazon later tonight. And you know what else you could queue up on Amazon later tonight? Some cruise essentials from my Midships Amazon store. In there, you can find everything that I will never, ever, ever cruise without again. Things like passport holders, luggage tag protectors, and a really cool portable fan to keep you cool during all your hot cruise days. Check it out. There's a link in the description down below this video. Thanks so much for supporting my channel. Now let's get back into today's cruise news. right now, right this very minute, I was supposed to be on a Trans-Pacific cruise. Yes, you heard me right. I had booked and paid in full for a 22-night Trans-Pacific cruise on board Carnival Luminosa. Now, a lot of you are aware that I recently had to have a tumor removed on my back, which was a large priority for me and a very invasive situation. So I ended up canceling that cruise and, well, unfortunately losing all my money in the process. What can you do? Carnival, right? Hey, actually, Carnival, get at me. We can make some other arrangements, right? I'll hear you out. Anyways, Carnival is moving the Luminosa over to the west coast of the U.S. to Seattle in preparation for the 2023 Alaska cruise season. And that's not the only ship repositioning this week in preparation for the forthcoming Alaska season, as the Carnival Spirit is planning on leaving Miami Sunday for a 16-night cruise on her way to Seattle as well. These two ships will be operating cruises through the fall of this year for the Alaska season, which begins sometime around the first week of May. And it looks like it's going to be a busy one for Seattle, at least, as they expect a total of 288 cruise ship sailings up to Alaska from Seattle alone this year. And that is up 10% from last season, just a year ago. And local Seattleites, people that live in Seattle should be excited about this, because each and every cruise ship that docks in the port of Seattle is worth approximately $4 million. And that's going to end up being a lot of money invested in the local region there in Seattle, nearly $1 billion this year alone, which makes me wonder, maybe I need to just open up like a pop-up Midships merch store at the cruise port. What do y'all think about that idea, huh? I bet more than a few of you have Alaska cruises on the books for this year. Let me know in the comments down below what ship you'll be on and if you've ever been to Alaska before. I'm curious about that one. It's a life-changing cruise. Well, severe weather has been impacting the entire east coast of Florida from north to south, with major flooding happening along the coastal areas. And it doesn't look like that weather is wanting to let up anytime soon. And this has actually begun to impact Port Everglades, the third busiest cruise port in Florida. And this weather could have significant impacts for passengers slated to cruise out of there this weekend, particularly for anybody flying in. And I say this because Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport, it's a lot of words to jumble together, was actually forced to close after 4:00 p.m. on Wednesday, and they had to cancel 360 flights that day or divert some of them to other nearby airports as a result of this flooding. Now, the cruise port itself, Port Everglades, they've remained open, but they are doing damage assessment at the port because of some of this flooding. The airport in the area is reopened, but water is still high. There's risks of power outage and additional flooding. We're just a day away from 2 busy days at Port Everglades, as there are 5 ships slated to call at the port on Saturday and another 5 on Sunday. Boy, we really needed some rain here in Florida. I was definitely not hoping for so much water that there was flooding. You know what else is flooding? My Facebook page with requests to join the Midships Miami Nights group cruise. If you don't already know, I'm hosting a 6-night cruise on the brand new Carnival Celebration, June 11th out of Miami, Florida. It's sailing down to Cozumel, Costa Maya, and Mahogany Bay. Just a couple of slots left on board the ship in our group. If you want more information, check out the Facebook link in the description. But I hit the microphone in the description below this video. I would love to have you join me for my second group cruise. If you made it this far into today's episode, please make sure you get subscribed to the channel if you don't want to miss out on timely, punctual, and informative Seaweed cruise news updates. Thank you so much for stopping by the channel today. And until tomorrow, we'll see ya on the Midships. If you can't already tell, it's been a fun day. I'm recovering a little bit better, and actually, I got a package in the mail, and it comes from another really popular cruise YouTuber, as a matter of fact. She's currently on a cruise out of New York City on a Norwegian ship. I wonder who that could be and what might be in this little package. Make sure you tune in tomorrow to see when I open it here on the Midships channel. Please make sure, once again, you reach out to me at podcast@midshipscruise.com with your cruise confessionals. I got a few good ones in there, but I'm surprised There haven't been a few more of you reaching out. I know some of you have stories. Why don't you send me an email tonight? It's the weekend podcast at midshipscruise.com. We'll see you tomorrow. La 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 la.